What's up, boys? I hope we're all having an amazing day. And I just wanted to come on here and really talk about me and how I made my transition and where I'm from. If you guys don't know who I am, my name's Christian. I'm from Michigan. I've been living down in Miami for about 2 years now, well, almost 2 years exactly. Here's the thing. This is very, very special because I really want to get into on how I made $300,000 on social media and was still physically broke. Physically, truly. Like I was mentally, I was broken in all possible ways. And I'm going to tell you guys exactly on how I, was there and how I overcame it. So if you guys want to just sit down, relax, just kind of sit on the couch or whatever and just kind of hear my story so you guys get to know me more, just so I don't seem like a stranger on your guys' feed. You guys might not even know who I am. You know what I'm saying? So this is me explaining who I am, not my full story. I have a lot of videos kind of explaining who I am on my channel. Last video, I explained my childhood, but this is at this very, very moment of my life. And this is exactly on how I changed this in a matter of, 4 to 6 months. So I'm originally from Michigan. I moved from Michigan to Houston in 2023. And then after I moved to Houston, I started just kind of, really meeting different people, going to this gym called Alpha Land, really understanding of like, what it is to be an influencer. And I left Michigan to become an influencer. That was my whole plan. The whole plan wasn't just to like, move down and get another job because I was making pretty good money in Michigan as a personal trainer. I've been personal training for I'm not 7 years, about 4 years now. At first, I wanted to become an influencer. I wanted to actually, try to do something on social media, become like a public figure in a look, try to do something different than, working my regular 9 to 5 job. That was my main goal because I was working 14-hour days when I was back in Michigan. And I just wanted to change that, that one job that you absolutely fucking love, but you know that your time is being used so you can't learn other skills or learn other things for yourself. And that's what was stopping me from actually achieving my goals. At that very moment of time, when I was a personal trainer, I was actually in the best shape. Like I was really, really in shape, like in the best shape I've ever been. I was still working 14 hours days. I wasn't focusing on other shit of my life, right? I wasn't focused on the actual rest of my life. And if you guys know, I went through a breakup, etc. You guys can go back in my other videos and really watch my actual breakdown of my whole life, right? This video is just about this very, very moment, but I'm kind of giving you a little bit of information about that moment. So I went to Houston just to, I just wanted to become somebody, like, something different because I was so used to the same bullshit. Wake up, go to the job, go to sleep, wake up, go to the job, go to sleep, eat, sleep, rinse. It was the same repeatedly process that I did not like. And I honestly would have felt so fucking stuck, right? And you guys know that feeling of feeling stuck and you want to get out of it. Sometimes as humans, we want to get out of something so bad, but like we just don't make the change. We don't actually apply certain things to our life that's going to change. We just want it so bad, but you don't do anything about it. And that's what's going to affect you in the long run, right? So before we even get started, I want you guys to know, no matter where you guys are at, you have to continuously learn and apply throughout your life, right? You can't just read a book and then not apply it. There's no point of reading a self-help book if you're not going to apply anything to your life. You simply just might as well not even read it, put down the book and do something else, right? And that's just like my whole mentality with that. Most people have this thing of saying like, life is hard or life is on easy mode right now. It's always an excuse or something. But in reality, truly, you could be hit in the most ways that you never would have thought you would ever be hit in. And we're going to get in exactly that story, but be aware of everything you're doing on a day-to-day basis because something in your life can affect you. It doesn't matter what aspect of it is, it can affect you. I'm kind of getting off topic here. So like I told you guys, moved down to Houston. I met these two kids. I moved down there with Zach Jennings, Dima Makovich, really cool guys. Loved them to death. Even though, we might have had our own ways of, living with roommates, it was my first time with roommates, right? I lived in a small ass room, y'all. Like I'm trying to tell you guys, like this room was so small. I'm 6'1", this room wasn't for me, but I had no bed frame. I put my desk, where I had to be. I put my 2013 MacBook and show you guys my 2013 MacBook. If I still have the picture of it, I'm pretty sure I do. I threw it out, it's like recently, but I had those things, right? And I set myself up down there. And honestly, I didn't know what I was really doing. I did not know what I was doing. I still had a little bit of clients online because I kind of knew how to do it, but then I wasn't really used to it. So wasn't even making good income. So it's not even worth even talking about. It wasn't good at all. I literally went from Michigan to Houston making no money. Like pretty much it's like I had to get a job pretty much. So fast forward, I got a bartending job. After I got a bartending, well, actually I got a personal training job before a bartending job. Then I got a bartending job. And then I started just to work, and it was consistent. It was only like, now that I think about it, I was really only working for a whole month. Like a whole month I was working. A whole month. That was it. I was working for a whole month. And I remember I met these kids in the hot tub. And it's a weird story, but I met these kids in the hot tub. We started streaming. We started TikTok living. If you guys know what that is, when it was really popping back in the day where everyone was on TikTok live. Everyone was on social media. It was kind of like after quarantine. And so TikTok was so popping. It was such a good way just to get out there. And if you were a small creator, if you didn't really post, to get on there, right? So we would go live. We would max out at, 500 to 1,000 people, which is fucking insane. We just started doing that consistently. I started hanging around these boys named Robert and Jared. Just started hanging out with them consistently. Really cool guys, man. And they're down here in Miami with me as well. And we'll get into that. But that whole time of my life, I was still bartending and still doing those certain things. But then we started learning on how to like actually make money off of there. And it wasn't even like we learned how to make money. I just would realize I would go live one day and I'd make like $100. And then it would be the next day I'd make $200. And then the next day, $1,000. And I'd be like, well, holy shit. For me, right, I knew I wanted to build something else. So I was making the money, but also at the same time, we were getting so many views. I was building clientele like for coaching, like fitness, because I looked so good. I think I have a picture I could put on the screen if I have one, but I was doing all of that. So I was flexing and I was just kind of getting hella people, I was really just getting a lot of people just to really fuck with me and want to hop in my coaching program for the way that I looked. And that was when it just set off for me. That's when my coaching business started. I was like selling like $150, $200 packages on coaching, and meaning like programming, teaching people how to get in shape, giving people meal plans, diet plans, nutrition plans, etc. So fast forward, just started making money on there and started making money off my coaching. And then on 4th of July, just quit my job. Then went to a banging ass mansion party. That's when all the vices started. Like that's when everything started, going uphill for me, financially. But that was the thing, right? So now, we're making the money on social media, making money through my coaching business. But like truly, like I wasn't happy within myself. Right? Being the 4 pillars, right? I told you guys about mindset, nutrition, training, habits, like everything was off. I was still smoking weed. I was drinking so much. I just completely lost myself, guys. And I'm going to put myself on the screen right here of when that happened. These 2 pictures, they're just like, totally didn't even understand of why I looked like that. I didn't even know I looked like that. Like that's the crazy fact about this. Like I didn't even know that I looked like that at all. And that's crazy to look back up on, and I never just reflected. So I was continuously like, and it wasn't the fact where I was so only just worried about the bag, but I wasn't focused on my actual life and focusing on where I wanted to be in the future. And that was the main problem. So as soon as all of that went by and time was going by, time. So at the end of 2023, our lease was up. Right. So when our lease was up, my friend was going to live in Jersey. My other friend was going to live in Arizona. So it was like we were all going our separate ways because we were like, okay, we're all doing something different. Right. So we had to go on our own path. So I decided to move to Miami. This was probably one of the worst but best decisions because this is why I'm here today. But I moved to Miami. I literally thought this was going to like make me. I thought this was going to be something that took me to the next level of my life. But that was simply just not true. I completely lost myself. I was going to the casino a lot, built another bad habit, right? Gambling my money away, just a whole bunch of vices, just smoking weed, just doing a whole bunch of bullshit. And I would just repeatedly do that every single day or every single couple of days, go to the casino, boom. And there was one night where, and this is like where the video really goes to and why I wanted to bring this up and what this video is really about is I just remembered waking up one day at, 4 p.m. from the casino. I spent $2,000, right, the night before. And usually I go to the casino, I'm spending $500,000. Like, that was like, okay, cool. Like I can afford it. But, that was just my mentality back then. I really, really went home, went to sleep, woke up at 4 p.m. And then I realized, yo, what the fuck? I looked in the mirror, I saw myself and I said, why the fuck do you continuously keep doing this to yourself, putting yourself down this road, this path that, you did not just move down here to fuck around. You're not just paying almost, $4,000 in rent and you're just fucking blowing it, right? And you're ruining the rest of your life. You're not thinking. And it just hit me in my brain. I remember I just went on my knees and I was just praying to the Lord, please help, please help, please help. And something just completely changed from there, right? Something just switched on me. I was like, you know what? This isn't who Christian is supposed to be. This isn't the Christian that I saw him being, coming to Miami and doing. I saw the Christian doing content, focusing on his life, focusing on his career, focusing on his passion, focusing on building coaching, getting the best shape of his life, working on his routine, stuff like that. But that wasn't true. So something needs to happen. Something needs to work in here, right? You need to stop with all these vices, stop with all this bullshit and all these these problems you have, and you need to go all in just within yourself. So I locked in, and the next and mind you this, man, I was solidly making that year, I solidly made $300,000 over that just from doing social media, which is fucking insane. And I'm not here to brag about the money that I made. That's not the whole point. The whole point is to tell you guys that I did something really good, very, really, really inspiring for myself. But then I was fucking it up with all the vices and everything that I had going on. And that's the problem. I was fucking up every single thing else and I was ruining my future until that one very moment, that one day, just completely reframed my whole mind. After that, I just started reading self-help books. I started writing in my journal. I have 3 journals behind there right there, but mostly books. You guys see my bookshelf, but I have a lot of my journals in my room and it's fucking insane. I was reading back and I was just really putting all my pain in those journals every single night after that. And I wasn't around my friends. I wasn't doing that much. I was really locked in. I said, you know what, this needs to change. And I just started actually printing out a diet plan for me, a nutrition plan, and what I do for my clients. And at that time I was still coaching clients, but I wasn't practicing what I was preaching. So I was lying to myself, right? So then I started doing that. Started focusing on my routine, going on Google Calendar, really jotting down the information of really what I need to do to actually be productive throughout the day. I just really started working hard on that. Started really doing that, really focusing on myself improvement skills and learning new skills, reading books, self-help books, you name it, bro. No Excuses by Brian Tracy, Atomic Habits. There's a lot of books. There's a lot of books that I've been reading from the top of my head. I could probably put some books up on here, but I have quite a bit of them right there. But those are the things that really changed my life in a way. And I started just kind of looking at my YouTube, more self-help people. And then I got my mentor from there, best version of myself. I invested into my first mentor. It was $6K or something like that. And I said, you know what, if I'm going to actually spend this money at the casino, well, I'm going to spend it on myself in the best way possible. Boom, did that. But the main thing was I got into the best shape of my life. Right here is when I actually got in the best shape of my life, did a lot, doing cardio every single day, working out, having the best split ever, actually just fucking focusing on building that person that I always wanted to become. I built him, got the most shredded, the best that I ever looked. I never looked like this ever in my life, and it's fucking insane. I never thought I could ever look like that ever until I actually started putting my mind to it, actually not bullshitting, going back to the vices. And I wasn't doing that stuff. I was completely locked the fuck in. I was not fucking around. I even told my friends, I said, hey, I'm gonna be locked in. This is what I'm going to do. I stopped streaming. There'd be weeks where I would stop streaming, then I would go on streaming just because I didn't know what I really wanted to do. But I was really fucking locked, man. That's what changed my whole perspective. It's to get after this whole video, it's not about how much money you're making. It's about what are you doing with yourself while you're making the money? Who is the man with the money, right? That's what I would like to ask you. If you're watching this video and you have some type of savings or you have some type of money, what are you doing that's different, that's going to help you sustain that money and actually keep you going and willing to work harder and harder every single day? That's through yourself. You have to trust yourself. You have to believe yourself. You have to go all in with all aspects of your life and not just one. And as soon as I started applying the 4 pillars, I started really seeing a change in my whole life. Nutrition, training, habits, mindset, all those things, just building a better mentality in a whole, changed my whole life just by simply reflecting on myself and not trying to go back to those vices, going back to those things that I was doing. It wasn't worth it to me anymore. I invested into myself. I spent a lot of money. I basically put myself in a situation saying that I have to change and I have to do this. I did it correctly. And here we are now, man. Like I still live down in Miami. I'm still growing my business. I'm really trying to work with men that are really struggling with, building themselves, either having a lot of money or not having a lot of money. It doesn't really matter. But this is the exact reason on how I, went from making 300K at 20 years old, but then still physically broke, still mentally broke, still not having those things that I wanted to have. Just because, you're making a certain amount of money doesn't mean you're shit. It doesn't mean you're onto anything. It just means that you were only focused on one aspect of your life and then you lost yourself. As a man, you don't want to just make money to provide for your family. You want to make sure you can give your family the best overall life. I'm talking about the best overall life. Like if you have a kid, you're going to spend time with your kid. You're going to teach your kid on nutrition. You're going to teach your kid on the best ways of, eating healthy, their habits, etc. If I was still that man and I had a family, oh boy, like that would have been a problem. But, I just really want to let you guys know you have to, at one point in your life, reframe everything that you're doing and actually sit there and think, right? So for me, it wasn't always about the money. It wasn't always about, getting all the followers, being an influencer. It was really just about me being a really good coach and me mentoring people and, really helping people get to their destinations and getting to their fucking goals. That was really my main purpose in this life. It wasn't none of that. So now that we're here, if you guys are really struggling, having that mentality in your life and you guys are only focused on the money, but to be for the money, you have to become the man. You have to become the man that's deserving of the money. The money will come from the universe. The energy in the universe will bring you the money once you become that man. So if you guys are struggling with that, please book a call with me in my calendar. It's going to be worth it because you want to know, a lot of people are going to stay stuck in this life. But the one thing is, once I started realizing to invest into myself and actually become that person and actually get the help, guys, I've changed. I've totally reframed myself in the matter of the 4 to 6 months. There's no way you guys can't. So guys, please book a call with me if you guys can. Let's get after it and let's actually fucking make a change in this world and show other people on actually who you are and not just how much money you make, or it doesn't matter what you're doing. It doesn't matter what you related off of, but mine was the money aspect. It's not the fact that all I cared about was money, but that was the only thing that my desires were caring about. That's the only thing that I was doing. My actions speak louder than words, guys. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Peace out. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. And like whatever you guys are doing, remember, just keep on fucking pushing and don't go back to those vices. Don't go back to that casino. Don't be doing bullshit that you shouldn't be doing. Focus on you. Focus on you. I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.